And hey, everybody, welcome to the Black Cat Lounge. I'm your most congenial host, Tim Shaw, and I've got a great show tonight. I'm just going to tell you what, I'm just like so excited because, well, we'll have to talk about it later. I'm just going to hold off because I'm not going to go and let you guys know. But first, let me show you something that just was published. Yes, yours truly was on Portals to Hell, and a local newspaper got a hold of it, and look at that photo. Look at that photo. Front page here in the Cheektowaga Bee. Baby, it don't get no better than that. And actually, they did do a nice job on it. And that photo, that was done by a great professional photographer. Oh, it was me. And it's a selfie in my basement at the old house. But that was really cool. And I really thank them for going and taking the time to actually get it right and just kind of talk to me about different things. I also want to go and I want to welcome a new sponsor. And here they are. It is the Buffalo Phantom Hunters. They're really great. And they work a lot out of Lockport, New York at Art. I believe it's 247. And it's a great location. I've been there several times, and it's just fun. I mean, I love going up there, and the activity is cool, and they offer some really neat stuff. So it's just a great place that if you're just starting out, they have all the gear. It's great. They're really not overbearing like some groups are, but also if you just want to go for a ghost hunt and see what it's all about, that's the place to do it. So they're really great. And I want to thank everybody that went and sent all sorts of great messages of condolences and that for a friend of mine who just recently passed. And everybody that took part in the healing services that I did last night live. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the feedback. And just to let you know that a person that's involved in it really is starting to come back. So it's really great. And so I can't thank you guys enough for it. But anyway, that's enough about me. I'm so tired about who wants to talk about me. I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about our guests because our guests are really cool. And I met this gentleman who I'm going to murder his last name, and I don't care because I'm the host and I can do these things. But I met him quite a while ago when we were he was traveling with Dustin Perry, and they had an unfortunate accident. As Dustin will go and describe, I guess the best way to describe it is a reindeer jumped out in front of them. And if anybody's been here in the southern tier of New York State, you know that our deer are not these little demure things that you see like at parks, and they come out and they're like in little groups and they're all grazing and they all look really cute. These things are monsters. They're down in the southern tier. I mean, they grow them pretty big down there. So they had an unfortunate accident, and they had to have their car towed all the way to Buffalo. Sunday, of course, had to go to the Buffalo Niagara International Airport, where all every car every car rental place known to man is located. And at the time, I mean, our old house was only about 5 minutes away. So I wanted them to really, because I like I said to Dustin, you got to eat. Don't be stupid. You got to eat. Come. I got a good Italian restaurant for you. And I think the guys enjoyed it. So, but I want to go, and first I have to give a special introduction. Wait a minute, guys. For this introduction, I must wear my hat to complete it. And I must bring my mic out. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, may I go and direct your attention to the large screen in front of you, because you will be mystified. You'll just be amazed. You will look out there into the world again and say, that was unusual. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to bring you to the center stage two of my favorite people in the entire world. Yes, two, because I only have two. That's it. That there's nobody else that I really care to talk about. But anyway, there they are. They are the paranormal couple. You've loved them. You've seen them on Ghost Nation. Satori Hawes is the crown princess of the paranormal. Cody DesBiens, or we as we call him, Cody Dubois. You know, if you because I'm up here, got to remember we're up here by the Canadian border, so you got to throw a little French in there. Is someone who has cut his teeth on the paranormal. This guy is a tech wizard. He is. He's a tech wizard, and he also helps produce Dustin Perry's Hey, You Got a Minute, which is a phenomenal show that you guys, if you ain't watching it, you guys are missing it. So get moving. Get moving. What's wrong with you? So anyway, let's go and welcome two of the most active friends that I have out there in the paranormal, and they collect haunted objects. So you know that they are close to my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, the paranormal couple. It's a power couple. Welcome.
Woo! Mr. Shaw, you're hired. We're going to have you stand out in front. Whenever we're traveling around, you're going to stand out front. You're going to be the ringmaster.
I can do that because I swear to God, in another life, I was a sideshow barker.
I love it.
It's just so natural to me because of the fact that I just, well, you know, what can I tell you? See, this is why when I do gallery work in churches and, you know, sideshows and casinos or wherever I'm doing, hell, what am I talking about? I'll do gallery work at bar mitzvahs, but, you know, I don't have any fear of it. So it's so much fun to do. And, you know, we got to go and we got to just bring a little life into it. A life.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know?
Great.
And speaking about lives, we got to go and we got to make sure that we have your banner up because of the fact that they are doing something special. We're going to talk about that, where they have a traveling haunted object show that is the exhibit that is really unbelievable. And if anybody out there really looks closely, you can see all the craziness that they have behind them. So welcome to the show, guys. I'm thrilled that you guys could take the time out of your schedule because every time I turn around, you guys are booked for a podcast, booked for a show. And I'm just like, you know, maybe I'll just, you know, I'll throw a crumb out there and see if they bite. And all of a sudden it was like, yes. I was like, oh my God, that means I'm set for a Tuesday. But no, I'm so thankful that you guys are on.
Because you're Tim Shaw. You beat the list.
I go right to the top of the list. Usually it's the top of the list going into the men's room, but that's another story for another time, guys.
Oh, that's funny. That's
hey,
great.
I want to just for a lot of people who don't know you, and
yes,
I mean, I love Cody. I mean, we text each other every so often, and ever since we met, and we've traded some objects together, which I love because that's what the whole idea of what we're up to and what we're doing. It's sort of that friendship that we all build, and, and together we get a chance to go. Hey,
something just fell over. This is what you deal with. You know this is what happens. You're always hearing noises and everything else happening around you.
I really don't know what that was, though.
That was interesting. That was interesting. You know what it is because I think they know it's me. That's what it is.
Exactly.
I've invaded your spaces now. But first of all, I've got to ask the Crown Princess Satori, which I love your name, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I really do. I got to ask the Crown Princess. Okay, everybody knows who your dad is.
Yes.
Everybody knows that you were brought up with this insanity that's called the paranormal.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. Was there one thing? Now, what scares me is you actually stayed in the paranormal and you didn't leave after having all these years being exposed to it. Was there one instance that kept that interest alive outside of Cody, because Cody is like a manly man, effervescent and iridescent. So we're going to just like divorce him out of that question. So what is that? What is there one thing that you can define that kept you in?
Well, I mean, what really brought me into the paranormal in the first place. Ghost Hunters, which my dad started in about 2004. He had taps since 1990. I grew up my entire life knowing my dad was involved in the paranormal. And especially when the show took off, I was only about 4 years old when it did. So I never knew anything else, but my dad's leaving for, a couple days, a week or so to go help people. That's just how I knew it. I didn't think paranormal was something bad. My dad would come home and say, hey, I just got back from work. I help people. I would ask him all these questions, and I was just fascinated. It must be the gene that passed down to me. I don't know. But, I always grew up in it. At one point, we did have a haunted hotel in New Hampshire that I grew up in, and that also really piqued my interest. I had experiences since I was little because I was always opened up to it. My dad never told me not to believe in it. So it was just, I was always open to it. Just my dad being involved in it, I guess just being a curious little girl wanting to be like her dad one day, that's what really got me into it in the first place.
That's fantastic, because that's like strange. It's I shouldn't say strange, because there's so many women that are in the paranormal, but for many years, the only person that really was into it was, of course, the late Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who was, an icon. And all of a sudden now we're starting to see a whole new crop of ladies coming into it. And I think it's fantastic. Now, before we go on to that handsome bloke sitting next to you, because it's like a bromance. I'm sorry, Satori, but it's like a bromance. It's like a bromance. But I got to ask you now. I saw you reading the cards, and I'm going to tell you what. You were so natural. It was like I'm like sitting there going, I know students who have been reading for 10 years that weren't as natural as you. I know students who have taken classes in mediumship and all the other craziness that we teach that weren't as natural as you. Mm-hmm. Where did that interest come from? Is that something that just evolved, or is that just like you nailed it? And I'll tell you what, I have to teach a class in showmanship for mediumship, and in order to do this, you're just so natural with it. And that was scary to me, because I have never really seen anybody that was natural to. What is it? When did you first decide or discover that part of you? But also that you really just, is it something that's just like you just sat down and you just feel like it's like just like a part of you? Because that's the best way I can describe it for myself.
Yeah. So I started off, using the cards and being interested in the more spiritual side of things very young. So I pretty much, the only way we could describe it is Cody's the tech. He's the logical. He's very data-based and all this stuff. And I am the spiritual. I just connect emotionally to people. I feel the energies. I guess I'm just more in tune that way. So when, if for instance, when we go to a client case or a haunted object pickup or something, I like to walk around. I like to feel things out, feel how the people are. So I guess when I decided, it wasn't too long ago, I decided maybe I should try tarot readings and oracle readings. Maybe I should try to use my energy that way. And ever since then, it's just people have come to me and said, hey, can you give me a quick reading? I could really use some advice on things, or I just lost a family member. And I guess I shuffle the cards and I just really focus on their energy, and what comes out naturally just comes out. So I guess I am really fluent when it comes to that. As much as you say I am, I don't really pick up on it. I like to feel the energy of things. So for instance, when I was doing card readings, when you were on the live stream, I really like to focus on people's energy, and the cards can say the same thing over and over. They really can. They have generic statements sometimes, or generic symbols, but you just have to feel it out, and you have to feel, what is this card saying? And you have to interpret it to somebody. That takes a lot of work and a lot of energy. I guess I've just always been connected energy wise, would you say?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You kind of just picked up right on it. And I think that's what makes us good, because you handle one side of things, I handle the other. And then when we come together in the middle, it all works out.
I think it's a perfect, they're a couple made in heaven. That's the way I'm going to say it. I'm just gonna. They're like the sweethearts now. They are the sweethearts of the paranormal. That's the best way I'm going to describe the two of you. But really, I just again, I just want to compliment you because when you were reaching out, and when I forget somebody was asking about a loved one who had passed, and you were just like, all of a sudden, I call it pablum of the mouth, because here you are and you got the cards going, and it's like, brrr. I went, wow, okay, she's on, she's got it. And that was, and that's a hard thing to do. It's a lot of people can't read energy, and that's why I was always effective, because I could read emails and get the energy from it. I could get, telephone calls, and now of course, voice or whatever. And that's the way to do this. So kudos, you really did a great job. And so if anybody wants to go and watch her in action, you guys, now, do you guys do a weekly show, or just whenever you feel like it?
Yeah, we try to go live once a week. It's not like a set schedule right now, but at least once or twice a week we try to always go live on the
Sometimes
page.
we try for 2 or 3 times a week. We really just try to strive for one at least a week.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, but we always have a good time. It's always, if something new comes in the mail, we like to open it up and show it on camera. And a few people come in and they know Tori reads the cards, and they'll just start asking questions. So we just kind of just play into it and let it roll however long it goes.
And we started it just because, people have such a misconception about the paranormal. They think everything's evil, everything's this.
Oh my God, yes.
Hollywood has made the paranormal seem like, honestly, a joke in certain cases. So what we like to do is we like to go on and teach them about haunted objects, how to care for them, teach them about readings, religions, stuff like that, because everybody's interested, and it really helps educate people. A lot of people didn't know a lot of the things until we started doing these live streams. We've really educated some people.
It's amazing, because most people have gotten their education from Hollywood movies and stuff like that, and thinking that, if I buy a Ouija board, I'm doomed.
Yeah.
I'm doomed. And never to even go near it. And I mean, it's just not the case, as you know, Tim. That's not the truth. That's not the truth at all. So just trying to give our opinions on it, and we make it clear that this is our opinion. This isn't the way it goes for everything.
Opinions, yes.
But this is, from working in the field and doing a bunch of client cases and working with objects, hundreds of objects. Not everything is bad. Mostly everything is good.
Exactly.
Energy.
Exactly.
And you just have to, we just like to say our opinions over and over again, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't like it, that's perfectly okay.
And we have saved so many objects in the process. So many people think we have to destroy haunted objects. We have saved so many just by doing these live streams and educating people. They've said, oh, I don't have to bury it or burn it or destroy it. No, give it to us and we will take care of it for you if you have to get rid of it.
Or give it to Tim Shaw.
Or give it to Tim.
Listen, if you give it to me, I'll trade it. I'll be trading it to Cody anyway. So that's the way it works. But no, I just think it's amazing that you guys have really decided that you guys have a clear-cut path on what you want to do. Now, Cody, I'm going to step back a little bit, and I just want to ask you. Now, I know a little bit about your history, and congratulations on your recent anniversary.
Thank you.
That's amazing. He's Cody, if I can share, he is a survivor, and after going through everything that I've gone through, I can actually say, wow, that's fantastic. Bravo. I think that's fantastic. Well, okay, Cody, now, outside of knowing Dustin Perry, which is scary, who I love to death, but he's like, he scares me sometimes, but what was it that got you into the paranormal? Oh my God. I sit there and I think to myself, here's a guy that, like, he could be good at something, not just the paranormal. This guy has got this mind that just, I remember you set me up. You told me how to set up a microphone and do the dueling dynamic mics and this whole thing. And I sat there one day and I'm putting it all together from my notes that you had texted me, thinking to myself, why is this guy wasting his time in the paranormal? This guy should be like working, on rocket science or something. So what is it that got you into this?
So I had an experience, like most people. I had an experience when I was young, probably about 8 years old. And, it scared me for sure because I didn't know what it was. It was something I had never seen before. I remember waking up in the middle of the night. I wasn't feeling well, so I went into my parents' bedroom, and I spent the night in there. I climbed right in between my mom and dad and tried going to sleep. I kept tossing and turning, and finally I opened my eyes and I see a bunch of men circling the bed. They were going through the wall on the left side of the headboard, circling the bed, going through the wall on the right side of the headboard, and just kept circling. Some were holding masks up to their face, some had
Wow.
holes for eyes, and they were all mumbling this voice, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying. I remember seeing the TV through one of their heads, which was on the other side of them. And it just stuck in my mind. It's burned into my memory. When you have an experience like that, it's always there. And I think that's what got me into EVP work and audio, because I wanted to figure out what they were saying. I was hoping that they would come back someday and maybe record whatever they were talking about. They unfortunately never came back. My family ended up moving out of that home, but everybody in that house experienced something. We would be on the first floor and hear running up and down the hallways on the second floor, and we'd run up thinking somebody had broken in. Nobody had broken in. We heard a dog once, and we didn't own a dog at the time. Just a lot of stuff. There ended up being some coal mines in the area that houses were built on top of, and they filled the land in. So maybe that had something to do with it. But after that, I just got so into the paranormal on everything, not just ghosts, but aliens and Bigfoot. I just wanted to read it all and know about it all. And then, the TV shows started coming out, and of course, Ghost Hunters. And I think it's so weird how everything just fell into place. I mean, the way I met Dustin, here's a funny story. So I had to get my wisdom teeth taken out. And I go to get my wisdom teeth taken out, and Dustin's very open about this. His second job is in a oral surgery facility, and he was an anesthesiologist technician. So I'm laying there getting ready to get put to sleep, and they had already given me something to kind of make me a little loopy and calm me down. And in walks Dustin. He goes, "All right, here's the guy who's going to put you to sleep." And in walks Dustin. I'm kind of looking up at him, and I'm like, "What the heck is going on?" So I thought I was going loopy. And I was like, "Are you Dustin?" He goes, "Oh yeah, that's me." And he's pushing the medicine. And then by the time I woke up, his shift was done and he was gone. And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, I didn't even get a chance to talk to him. So I ended up joining a paranormal team like a few years later. And, we're doing our first presentation, like all paranormal teams do. You have to do the local libraries and stuff like that. And in walks Dustin. He goes, something told me that I usually don't come to these things, but something told me I had to come check this out. I saw a flyer on the outside or in the library, and I had to come in and check it out. And, I was like, "Oh, I remember you." And we ended up becoming best friends after that. It was like it was meant to be. And coming to find out all the stuff that we have in common. Our birthdays are a day apart. Our fathers attended the same Elvis Presley concert in 1977, sitting 2 rows apart. It's just crazy. And then Jason, meeting Jason and becoming part of the tap scene. Without Jason creating taps, I probably would have never met Satori. And just living in New England itself is just crazy how everything falls into place and doors open and close. It was like everything was meant to be. Crazy.
It's all synchronicity. It really is, if you think about it in the long run. And I think a lot of the people that I've met over the years, it's meant to be.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely
meant to be. And it's you think about the journey, and it's like I sit there and go, dude, I'm just this kid from Western New York. I'm just meeting these people that I used to read about, or you saw somebody on TV, and it's an amazing journey. So I think that's great. Now I got to ask you. Now Dustin clued me in on I believe it was an oceanfront case that you guys were doing.
Oh, yes.
And every so often, Dustin will drop me a text that like, "You're not going to believe this," or something. Is it true? I know it's true because I saw the photo. Is it true that you had a ghost tie your shoelaces together?
Yes, that was crazy.
Holy crap. Wow.
That was nuts. So yeah, we were at this case, and of course, we had all the lights out and experimenting with different new techniques that we were trying out. And I was standing up and he was sitting down, and we're just trying to have conversation with whoever's there. And I forget he had asked him to help help him with something, or called me over for some reason, and I go to walk over, and I just start tripping all over the place. And he goes like, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" So I figured I tripped over a wire or so, because we had wires everywhere. We were trying to record for different experiments with audio. And we turned the flashlight on, and my shoes are tied together in a knot, and it was unbelievable. We ended up bringing you back to that case, and it was in Massachusetts, and
oh yes, I know exactly which
yeah,
one.
we ended up in one of the crawl spaces, which I actually have right here. There it is. So
because we have to have it, right?
So we ended up finding all of these. There was hundreds of these little. It looks like it used to be all little like tea light candles.
Oh wow!
Inside of them were all different. Like here's some bird feathers in this one.
Like offerings.
Right. So
that is wow. Okay.
So in the crawl space, we ended up finding hundreds of these, and I only took about 3 or 4 of them.
Because we had to take
because
them.
I asked, can I take a couple of these? And the owners of the home had no idea. They had just moved in within a few years, and they were like, yeah, sure, you can have them all. We're gonna end up cleaning it out and throwing everything away. But we ended up talking them out of that, because whatever was in the house didn't seem negative. It seemed like it was just, very interactive. And we don't know the intentions of why this was left there. And they didn't seem, upset in any way. They just want to know what was going on. So was this, like Tori said, some sort of offering, or some sort of
it
protection
doesn't necessarily have to be a negative offering. I mean, other religions and cultures offer to deities and to their gods and stuff, so it doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to cause a negative haunting.
But yeah, that house was amazing. Yeah,
that's you guys brought up a great point, because I mean, you guys know the crowd that I kind of hang out with. I mean, just because I'm a spiritualist doesn't mean that, like, the people in the craft I know, that are just wonderful, or hoodoo or voodoo people, or, Santeria people. And you get to know, once you kind of break that ice, you get to know all about leaving offerings and leaving and honoring the deities. And, I also, being brought up Roman Catholic and spiritualists, which sometimes people say it's an oxymoron, but it really isn't, because we light candles and we burn incense and we leave intentions to saints.
Yeah.
Why don't we just feed the saints? Why don't we leave fresh food like druids do and other people do in the craft, or I hate to even say it, but I mean, I have a Santa Muerte statue that I leave, candy for, or, sure. Papa Canelo, who likes tobacco, who likes rum. So you leave him a little something in there, and and people automatically, and Satori, you hit it right on the head. People automatically go to the dark side because of the fact it's the way that it's presented. And what kind of sucks, is before your time in a universe far, far away, kids. The only time anything like this was on was at Halloween. So of course it's always scary stuff. But if we even think about like Ouija boards, let's look back to when they became scary and they became negative. And a lot of it was, yes, if in my research, I've got hundreds of articles where people have lost their money because they were stupid and they listened to whatever was on the other side saying, take all your money out and put it here. And I also know about a couple of cases here in the Western New York area where there were murders that took place because they listened to whatever was on the other side. But it didn't really come to pass until the 70s when The Exorcist came out. Mm-hmm. When you think about it. And then, of course, you had Witchboard that came out, that same thing. And these really cemented in at least my generation the evilness of doing anything with the paranormal, anything with collecting haunted objects, working. Now, my religion, primarily being a modern, being brought up modern spiritualist, they don't allow to use any kind of tool, what they would consider tool of divination. Yet when I was a kid at Lyceum, which is like a Sunday school, they used like a shot glass on a polished table. What do you think that is? You know, yes or no answers.
Yeah.
For seance, you know, trumpets and chalkboards and stuff like that. But normally they didn't do it. So you know, a lot of people got that negative connotation from it. So it's really something that we all have to, that we, you know, the three of us have got to go dispel, because I don't know how many times I've been in the hinterlands at an event and you know, and I'll have, you know, I have a couple Ouija boards, 65 right now. I used to have 66, but I let my buddy have one.
Yeah.
You know, oh no, the one that you got, the one I sent you, that doesn't even count. I had that one off to the side for a while. I got the perfect trade item for my buddy. There we go.
Perfect.
But you know, it's up to us to dispel that rumor. And there are so many things out there that are not always negative. That's what drives me insane. And before we go into this, I'm gonna leave that as a cliffhanger for now. And I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna pay a couple bills very, very quickly, a 30-second break, and we'll be right back. This is Tim Shaw, and you're listening to What Else? The Black Cat Lounge here on Facebook Live, coming direct to you from my basement. So stay tuned. The Black Cat Lounge is brought to you by Paranormal Oddities, the little store with the big heart. Patronus Photographic, fine art, photography, and design. Nancy's Sewing Room, aprons, masks, and handmade purses. And Wild Raven, hand-poured candles for those magical times. And we're back at the Black Cat Lounge. And also, we can't forget our new sponsor, which is Buffalo Phantom Hunters. And they are a very professional group. There's only 2 of them with a few other people that help out. And they're really good people to work with. So I highly recommend them. So I just want to let you guys know that. So anyway, we're back here at the Black Cat Lounge. And we are here with 2 of the most fabulous people. They're just fab. I'm just going to say they're just fab people. Satori, Hawes, and my buddy Cody. I'm going to say it French way. DesBiens, because it kind of gives him a little class. We know he has no class, right, Satori? But yeah, he's got some class. I love him to death. But you know, this is the misconceptions that people have are staggering. They're just staggering to me, because I can't believe I was down in a little paranormal con in Western Pennsylvania a few years ago. So I brought out I love displaying my antique boards. I love them so much. And I love being able to, a couple of them, you can pick them up and you flip them over and they got checkerboards on them. And then they have it says, you know, patented lap table. So you can eat your lunch, play a game of checkers, and then commune with the spirits all like in the same hour. But, you know, you try to go and you try to, you know, explain that to people, and people come up and they say, oh, no, you're a better man than me. I wouldn't have one of them. And I sit there and I think to myself, what's the difference between the board and the recorder that you're using?
Exactly. Same thing.
Or even worse, the board and the pendulum that you're using, because the late Ray Buckland, who brought you know, much of the religion that we know as Wicca to the U.S., he taught me how to, you know, use an alphabet wheel with a pendulum to get that two-way communication, which is amazing. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about some of the objects that you guys have that are, I would say, yeah, I know.
I like to take it in sometimes.
I'm taking it in right now going, oh my God, that looks like my basement. I love it.
You're only seeing 10 feet of it.
Yeah, you're only seeing a one little area.
Listen, if I come to stay, I'm bringing a cot and you know where I'm staying. Forget about the guest room, because I got to go where the vibes are great. But let's talk about, you know, some items that you know of or you have that are positive, and people either gave them to you or you come across them through legal means. We're not talking about that Ecuadorian guy either. Yeah, we don't want those. We don't want those things coming in. But yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. How about Bill? Bill's
Yeah,
a
we can
good
talk
one.
about Bill.
Yeah.
Jim. So we kind of grabbed a little bit of everything here. So this is just a little toy, and this came from a home in Connecticut, and it's a handmade toy. If you pull a little string on the bottom there, his arms and legs go flying up in the air there. And this came from a toy maker. His name was Bill. He lived in Connecticut, and with these pieces, this was handmade by him. Everything was handmade by him, hand painted by him, and it was made with love. And as you know, everything has energy, and I believe, with these objects, he poured his energy into this.
There were so many too when we were given this. There were so many other ones that he didn't even finish yet. So the family gave this one to us just because the claims were that his arms and legs were moving, like somebody was pulling the string, and they were worried. They were worried that was it him or was it something else? And
they thought he might have been trapped in the home because when the gentleman passed away, they started noticing, like Tori was saying, the toys moving, and they would walk by and maybe see his arms and legs stuck up in the air, and then they would just drop. But there was nothing bad about this at all. The correlation with him passing away and then the toys starting to move. This is something that was made with love, and there's no reason why anything bad would be attached to it.
And we haven't had it, the arms and legs move since we've had it. We did catch audio once. And we were asking questions in the museum, and we said, if any spirits are in the museum, could you please tell us your name? And we heard, my name's Bill. And it was just so happy and nice. And he sounded like an old man that was just, hanging out. So it was very sweet to hear his voice. He wasn't malicious at all. It was just actually really heartwarming to hear.
Absolutely, yeah. So we always find things like this that just belong to people. Think about all the things you have in your home, and maybe something that was gifted to you by somebody you love, and maybe it's a necklace or something that was made by maybe your dad or your grandfather that was given to you. Something that was made, put a lot of love for maybe a special person. That's something that can hold energy.
And we would never want to take something that belonged to family. We always try at first to say, is there any way you can live with this? Take care of it properly. Please don't destroy it. But if it comes to that last straw where they're worried and it's maybe taking a lot of activity happening in their home and they're getting worried, we do take it as a last resort, and we always tell them, you can have it back.
Have it back.
You can have it back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
that's exactly the right way, and that's a great philosophy. And unfortunately, a lot of people steal stuff, which is terrible. I have to put this up. This is really great. Bob Burnell has said, for a young couple, you both really have your shite together. Love what you guys are doing, and much respect for your dad, Satori, and his crew. They started the whole thing, and that's true. They really did. That's such a nice compliment. I thought that was nice.
Thank you.
That was really great. And now let's talk about religious items.
Sure. Okay.
You can grab those.
You just so happen to have a religious item just happens to be there.
Yeah.
You could name anything and we probably have it.
See, this is the big thing, because I have some really neat religious stuff that I've picked up over the years that people have said, well, no, this is like way too strange. This is way too scary. And it's like, well, it's a cross, and it came from a monk. And when he died, he used to always venerate the cross, and he used to pray to that little cross in his room. And when he died, of course, where do you think he's going to be? He's going to be there with that piece because it has absorbed part of him. It's his energy. And that's what I thought is so wonderful about religious pieces. And I love collecting religious pieces whenever I can. So what else do you have? Because you know why? Inquiring minds want to know about this stuff.
So we have a lot of different religious stuff from all different religions, and this was the closest thing to me that I could
First
grab.
thing we could
I'm also
grab.
going to grab this as well, because this is very interesting too.
But talk about it.
Here you have just some rosary beads that really meant a lot to somebody, and when this person passed away, they were holding them. And the family thought nothing bad with them, of course, but they felt like they had a lot of energy still left behind with the rosary bead, because they were prayed to every single day, every single morning, every single evening. And when she was unfortunately passing away, I'm sure she prayed to these probably every hour. Just so much love poured into these rosary beads here. And the family graciously wanted us to have them. And like Satori said before, we always try talking people out of giving stuff that's so sentimental to
Right.
families, because this is something that meant a lot to somebody, and this was with them when they passed away. And
it gives a good energy, though. It's heartbreaking situation, but the energy is good energy. It's positive. We do have some things that aren't so positive religious wise, though.
We do, yes. So this was some exorcisms. So this
that looks like that's definitely a stole. I've seen the well, I'll just call him a demonologist, Father Alphonsus Trabolt from St. Bonaventure University, and he used one very similar to that for when he did exorcisms.
Yes, so it's usually purple stole, and usually with a white robe. And this was used in a few exorcisms. And people say, I personally don't feel any energy coming off of this one. We'll always be straightforward with the objects that we have, with our opinions on it. But some people say that they felt some energy coming off of this. It has been blessed plenty of times by different priests. And, I just don't feel anything off of this piece, but some people do. Do you feel anything off it?
I feel, okay, so I don't feel necessarily a negative energy off of this piece. It's more of a, how do I put this? The religious energy, when there's something that somebody was so passionate about, for instance,
right.
And you just feel the energy radiating off of this, because that was what it was used for. It was cared for so finely. It was used for such, important matters. That's the kind of energy I get off of it. Nothing negative, nothing demonic that may have followed it, though.
Right. And this piece here is a handmade piece. So
that's beautiful.
It is, isn't it? It really is beautiful. And the story behind it is beautiful as well. So this was I'm trying to think of the name of it, but if you've ever been to a funeral, in front of the casket there is something you kneel on to say a prayer.
It's called the kneeler, Cody. I just want to let you know. It's called the kneeler.
I don't even know.
So
you could have just grabbed the file.
It says it right over there.
You could have grabbed the file.
Anyway, so this was handmade by this gentleman who's no longer with us, and it was placed right at the top where you would rest your arms. And he claimed one day that he had a conversation with this idol that he had hand carved, and he had we don't know the full conversation that he had with it, but he claimed that it was very spiritual, and it enlightened him and told him that everything was going to be okay once he passed on.
Some people don't like to tell us the entire story because it is personal. They don't like to tell us sometimes where they got these objects, why this thing happened, or what point in their life it happened. But the way he talked about it to us, he was like, I felt like it saved my life. And it was a voice that sounded like it wasn't there, but all around. And he said he thought it was God. So it was just a very, very passionate conversation. And, all he kept saying was, it saved my life.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
He wanted it to go to a really good place, and he gave it to us, and we've kept it very, very safe since.
It is. And we have heard that he has passed on since, which is unfortunate.
Adds to the possibility, though.
So I don't know. I don't know. Do you feel anything off of her?
Personally, we haven't had anything happen. I mean, again, the holy energy, the religious energy, like I said, but, we haven't had anything happen as of yet.
Yeah, but maybe someday we will. We have found, like, when you get a new object,
right?
Sometimes it takes a while for it to get, reacclimated to its new location. And we've had stuff in here for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden it's just like a light switch. Boom, it comes on. Maybe it's bringing another object in that, has some sort of effect on it, energy wise. But I think it's all energy, no matter. I think just putting an object in a certain part in the room can, flip that light switch on to have communication.
It works the exact same way as hauntings. Right person, right place at the right time. When that energy is right, things blow up. I know people have sent me objects where they're like, this is the crappiest thing I've ever had to go through, blah, 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 going into the whole story behind it. I get it, and I look at it and go, wow, this is cute. I love this. I'm going to put this like in a little case in my case. And I never have a problem with it. But do you think that as a collector, as collectors, the two of you, because you're both there, and Satori, listen, I know you're the brains of the operation. So I'm just going to put it out there. Do you think that a lot of it has to do with the type of person you are, that you're not really, I can take my stuff out, display it, bring it back, and not have a problem with it. However, other people seem to, they take their objects out and they have problems. They have things that talk, that, all this craziness that goes on. Do you think that it's because that we either have a respect for it or we actually love the pieces themselves individually? Because to us, it is something that's very special.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly right. Of course, we're not the only 3 people in the room here that collect these types of objects, and
but we're the best.
We're the best. Right.
Well, we have to put Johnny in there. Okay, Johnny Zaffis is
all right. So four
people.
But everybody takes care of their objects differently. Look at Ed and Lorraine, which, very well respected investigators. They had their collection blessed almost on a daily. I mean, at one point they had a minister living on the property at one point that would bless the museum every single day, and everybody has their own routines in the way they take care of their objects. And for us, whenever we come into our museum, we're always talking to them and saying hello and interacting with them all on a respect. I think respect is also up there on the list of love and the way you take care of them, because we treat all of them like people. Because that's a lot of the objects here. Every one of them were owned by somebody. At least most of them are, and they were loved by somebody. But at the same time, some people collect objects for the fact to have a haunted object that maybe they want that negative side of things. They want something that maybe has a demon attached to it or something really negative, and they're putting that energy out there. Of course, we've all heard of the Philip experiment as well, where the group of people was able to create a ghost that was able to communicate with them. So if you're putting this energy out into the universe, maybe it's going to come back at you as well. And, also interact with the people that are around it. So I definitely think it depends on the situation, the way you interact with things.
Now, just to let everybody know that are not familiar with the Philip experiment, Philip experiment was a group of researchers that worked with old school mediumship. They were using table tipping, and they created a thought form that they thought that it was a thought form, created a whole biography for it. It would tap out words. It would tap out yes or no answers. It would spin. The table would hop and bop. I mean, and as a spiritualist, I mean, I've seen this happen. It's happened to me many times. But at one point, the actual board began to go and correct what was wrong with the biography and that sort of thing. So now we have something that's intelligent, that's communicating, not just a thought form that somebody made up. So that's what that is. And a lot of people, and again, that's what a lot of people freaked out about, recently. I just let you guys know, I've been in contact with the Canadian Psychical Society, and I've just downloaded everything that they've written by the Owens who ran it. And last year, I was all set. We were going to go and we were going to start replicating the experiment. We were going to go and we were going to tape it and, get it, see what we could do with it.
That's awesome.
But it was amazing. But I've had it correct books when I was studying through some of the courses through the spiritual classes and stuff. So it's pretty crazy to do. Now let's talk about negative stuff. I have a certain way of doing things. Somebody gives me something and I get that ick factor.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know, I have a certain way of lessening it.
Yeah.
You know, before I bring it into my collection. Do you guys have a certain way of doing these things? Something that even like maybe perhaps you could go and even share with the video audience, because of the fact that so many people have asked me, well, what can I do with this thing? What can I, it's getting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So actually, we do get questions like this a lot. A lot of people on our live streams like to say, what is your religion? How do you protect yourself in these spaces from these negative entities? So what we like to do, we say, for religion wise, everything, because what we believe is we like to stay open. Every religion in a way plays into the next. So everything has a good and evil, protection, stuff like that. So we like to have a little bit of everything so everybody feels comfortable when entering the museum. And, why be so set on one specific thing when there's so many other possibilities out there? So
Exactly.
we'll have sage and crystals, prayer cards and crosses, everything you can think of, incense. So I guess the answer to the negative question is we like to ground ourselves. At least, I say this every time. If we're bringing in something that is claimed to be negative, I say, okay, we're putting a wall up around ourselves of white light. We're making sure that we are protected. You are not allowed to cause harm or havoc to us or this house. And we still show respect, but we lay down our own ground rules here. A lot of people like to think you have to wear some specific sort of hands thing and do some sort of specific ritual over it. That is our ritual. That is how we do it. And it seems that it really works here. We have supposedly cursed and claimed to be demonic inhabited items, stuff like that. And nothing has caused trouble here. I mean, honestly, we've seen the other objects kind of protect the museum too. We've had weird instances happen where it seems like these objects are protecting each other.
Yeah, we've definitely seen them interact with each other. But yeah, what we do, that's exactly what we do. And what we do absolutely works for us. And it all depends on the individual, I think. I mean, if you're a devout Catholic, maybe crystals and sage isn't your thing, and you have to use whatever you believe in.
Right.
Prayer. If you believe in prayer, pray.
It's the intention. If
Right.
you believe in it, the intention is what works. That is the power behind everything.
Right. If some random person just picked up a thing of sage and had no idea what to do with it, and you have to light it, and you have to make it smoke and stuff like that. But what your intentions aren't into what you're doing. It's just your mind isn't connected to what's going on.
You've got it. You hit the nail right on the head, because too many people don't realize that. And we just break it down real simple. And this is my 101 class, and I'm not even going to charge you $10 for this lesson. So you guys got the deal. But when you think about it, what are we doing? We're creating a ritual to cleanse it, right? What is a ritual? A ritual is nothing more than a stylized prayer. What's a stylized prayer? It's a focused intent. So at the end of the day, it all goes down to the same thing. So, I mean, even though my neighbors have caught me dancing around a bonfire naked with a dead chicken to cleanse something, it worked for me.
Yeah.
Maybe not for them, because they're still using eye bleach, but it works. But whatever it is, so long as you have that right intention, it works. The same thing cleansing houses. People walk in there, they're walking around with sage, and then they come up to me and they say, well, how come it didn't work? I said, well, what's the religion of the people in there? Well, they were brought up Roman Catholic. Why didn't you use frankincense? Because it ends up being a cognitive reinforcement to a place where they're safe. And that's what, people forget about that stuff.
And it goes both ways too. If you are setting out a negative intention to do something to cause harm to another human being, or to bring something that you don't really know much about, you're dabbling in something with a negative intention, and it actually works.
Yep.
Then you bring the object to us and tell us, I'm being haunted by this thing because I did this, this, and this. That's the intention. You did that. And so you did cause this to happen. You opened yourself up to it. So it goes both ways.
Exactly. And that's why, not that I've ever done anything like that. I'm waiting for the lightning to come down and hit me. But, you have to understand that it's a gray area, and intent can work either way, for good or for evil, whatever you're going to, but it's up to you. And of course, I mean, it depends on your belief system. If you're going to get, a good friend of mine, it says it'll hit you, and knock you right down. That's the way that it's, that's, that the spell or whatever worked, if that's what you believe, fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know some Strega people who are, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't get these people mad at me. And seriously. And, there is no gray area. They either, will do something or won't do something, and there is no repercussions whatsoever in their traditions. So you have to really watch that. Hey, it's already like, we've got 4 minutes left, guys.
Crazy.
So this is crazy. Would you guys come back on my show again?
Yes.
I love you guys. I love you guys to death. Not just because Satori said that I have to be nice to you or anything. Cody, she sent me a little email and said, be nice to Cody once in a while. So bring him in. So, but because I'd love to talk. I'd love to sit down and talk shop with you guys when it comes to items and that sort of thing, and how we deal with them, what we do with them. So, I mean, that's something that I don't think enough people understand. So anyway, how can people find out more about the fabulous paranormal couple? I'm telling you, just like, you know what? I should be wearing sunglasses on there because you guys are so fabulous. So how can they go and learn more about you guys?
Well, we didn't think the name was going to take off as much as it did. We kind of created a TikTok just for fun and to educate people, and that really took off. So we have a TikTok called The Paranormal Couple. We have Facebook, Paranormal Couples Haunted Museum.
Yep. Then the web, if you get lost and you don't want to remember all that stuff, just go to paranormalcouple.com. And if you have a question you want to ask, I mean, we don't know the answers to everything. We definitely don't. But we can definitely give you our opinion on what we think on the situation. But paranormalcouple.com. We have the traveling museum exhibits that
the Paranormal Couples Haunted Museum of Objects, Oddities, and Curiosities.
It's a tongue twister,
yes.
So you don't forget it. You have to remember the museum with a tongue twister name. And it starts this fall, and the first stop is in Connecticut, and more dates are going to be announced very soon. And we also have some other announcements coming soon, some giveaways and things like that. So follow the Facebook page. It's all linked to the website, which is on the bottom of the screen right there. And we're just going to have a good time. And we have a little something for everyone in this museum. So definitely come meet us, talk to us. If you have a question, feel free to contact us. And we're always here. We're here to help.
Now that the world is starting to open up a little bit, I'll be leaving my basement. So I'm going to have to make a trip to see you guys somewhere along that line, because really, it's going to be you guys are really done an amazing job with what you're doing, and I have to say I'm so proud of the two of you. I love the fact that you guys are actually doing, following your inspiration, and I love that. Hey, stick around for a couple minutes. I want to thank you properly off the air. Okay. And I'm just gonna say goodbye to everybody, but really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for taking the time to be on the Black Cat Lounge tonight. It was great. You guys are fantastic. So hang tight. I promise, just a few seconds. I promise. Bye until then.
All right.
Aren't they great? I mean, I love the two of them, and they're really, I'm sorry, but to me, they are the movers and shakers now in the paranormal field. We go through cycles. Every so often we'll get like a 5-year cycle or a 10-year cycle where we have the same people, the same people are up there, myself included in that, where we're the old standbys, but there's a new guard that's starting to come up. And I love the fact that these two kids, and that to me, they're kids, are actually going to go and get out there in the world with something that they love. That to me is well worth it. That to me is what our goals in life should be. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for stopping in tonight. I want you guys to, besides, what else will you do on a Tuesday night? Just hang out at the Black Cat Lounge with me. And I'm so happy that you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week, Tuesday. Where else? where the elite meet next to the dumpster transfer station. Anyway, good night, guys. Ciao. Be good. Stay healthy.